I'm back, and still to come on Newsline, I look at the growth in people getting tattoos, kids buying old records, and all the latest in business, sport and weather.
From sports stars to actors, maybe even your boss, it seems that not having a tattoo has become the exception rather than the rule. Getting inked is a trend that refuses to die, but will our painted population live to regret their decision? I decided to find out. Got ink? If you said no, then you're probably going against the norm. From little initials in a hidden spot to elaborate designs adorning someone's entire back, tattoos have now become commonplace. The tattoo bug is currently biting young adults, with tattoos no longer a trademark of bikies and gang members, but now standard on bar hoppers and clubgoers out on Saturday night. But what exactly has sparked this trend towards tattoos? Why are more and more people willing to get inked? RMIT University's Professor Paul James believes that our current obsession stems from years of media exposure.
The tattoo trend's actually quite extraordinary. It's changed in so many ways across the last 3 or 4 decades. Where's it come from? It's come from a global process of responding to the way in which the world has become more abstract, more mediated, where television and World Wide Web and even Facebook have intermediated between people's relationships to each other.
Other forms of body modification, such as piercing, also played a role in the popularity of tattoos.
Piercing and tattooing came in together. They both represent a major change. I think piercing was the big thing which actually meant that whole of body tattoos, or tattoos where you plan your body rather than just have a singular lapel on your shoulder, that was the big change that occurred.
Dieter, who has been a tattoo artist for 27 years, has seen it all.
We went through a stage there of the Southern Cross being tattooed on a lot of people. What's really becoming popular now is sayings, like sentences, that sort of stuff.
He thinks the popularity of tattoos can simply be attributed to a case of monkey see, monkey do.
You see one on someone else, you think that's acceptable, and so, if you see 10 people, it's even more acceptable.
Tattoos do not look to be going away anytime soon. They're getting bigger, but so are the risks. Sprawling designs could kill a young person's chance of employment. Rod Conn, a career advisor of 13 years, warns that body art could leave a bad impression on employers.
There are certain professions, certain job sectors that I think would be less agreeable, and maybe they're in the more conservative professions of the law and accounting and so forth.
Do you think there could be a case where having a tattoo could work in favour of someone looking for a job?
There would be certain areas where if you're working in maybe young fashion, or you're working in areas where it's a very youthful environment, whether that be a sales or an advertising type of area, where it could be seen as a form of personal creative expression.
He thinks that some employers are moving away from the traditional views of tattoos.
If the organisation you're working for is by and large populated by and run by younger people, they're not going to have an issue about it at all, and might actually see it as being very normal, might not even effectively notice it.
But before you go and spend hundreds on some fresh ink for your next job interview, Rod has some advice.
My advice to people is, though, to eliminate anything that you don't know is going to be all right. Okay. So if you're going for an interview and you don't know that they are agreeable about body art, I would keep it concealed.
Cheeto Santos, Newsline.
Thank you for that lovely story, Cheeto. And now on to business news with Chantel Rollins. Now, Chantel, the former International Monetary Fund chief who has been accused of attempting to rape a Manhattan maid has been granted bail.
That's right. A judge has approved the conditions proposed by Dominique Strauss-Kahn's lawyers, which will see the former chief hand over $1 million bail and be placed under house arrest. Strauss-Kahn will be electronically monitored 24 hours a day in the apartment rented by his wife, a punishment which may seem even worse than the 3 days he's already spent in a New York prison. Strauss-Kahn must also have an armed guard at all times at his own cost and a $5 million insurance bond. This came after prosecutors deemed him to be a flight risk and warned that evidence is mounting against him.
Chantal, has the IMF found a chief to replace him?
Not as yet. Traditionally, a European is appointed as IMF chief, and at this point, it's French Finance Minister Christine Lagarde as the frontrunner.
So what's happening in global market news?
It's great news for LinkedIn, the world's biggest professional networking site, who more than doubled their share price in the first day of trading. LinkedIn sold almost 8 million shares at $45 a share, and at one point overnight, those shares soared to nearly $123.
And last but not least, Dominique Strauss-Kahn may not be the only top dog forced into retirement this week.
No, he isn't. Corporate Accountability International, a non-for-profit organisation who is supported by hundreds of doctors, have called for the resignation of Ronald McDonald. The organisation has already taken out Joe Camel of Camel Cigarettes and now has its sights set on the kid-friendly clown character who promotes fast food to children. Look out, Ronald.
Thanks, Chantal. And after the break, we look at vinyl records plus all the day's sports news. Welcome back. The sale of vinyl records have been steadily decreasing since the 80s. For most people who don't happen to be DJs, the old vinyl record is just a relic from the past. But will Melbourne's DJ culture be enough for vinyl to survive the latest shift in music trends? Louis Bowden reports.
Despite recent advances in technology tempting DJs and other music collectors away from vinyl records, vinyl culture in Melbourne is alive and well.
The culture is still strong. That's definitely one aspect we really try to provide that I think you definitely don't get sitting in front of a computer.
ARIA statistics from 2010 show a 26% drop in vinyl record sales. However, local record stores are reporting an increased interest in vinyl and its culture. Record sales in the UK and the US are also on the rise.
I guess we really show people that there's a strong community vibe associated with record stores.
While record stores believe the profile of vinyl culture will continue to rise, some DJs are moving away from vinyl records towards improving digital DJ technology.
Yeah, in the past, digital DJing was pretty terrible, but nowadays with Serato, it's pretty much on point with vinyl and works in the same way, so you know, now a lot more people are into it. The main benefit is not having to carry around crates and crates of records. You can just fit everything you need in a backpack and it's all ready to go.
Even with the technology available, many DJs are adamant that vinyl records will remain a large part of their lives and optimistic about the next generation of DJs continuing with tradition.
Where a lot of these up-and-coming DJs who only have digital format and don't have no real passion for the music as such, you know, they're fly-by-night. They'll be here today, they'll go tomorrow. There's no longevity in them.
In an age where information is available at the click of a button, songs are purchased from the comfort of your living room and books can be read through a computer screen, at least one traditional form of entertainment is managing to survive.
I don't think we'll be going anywhere in the near future anyway.
Louis Bowden, Newsline.
Thanks, Louis. And now we're joined by Nick Fogarty with today's sport. Now, Nick, it's looking like to be a bit of a cracker of a weekend in AFL football. Kicked off between Carlton and Geelong tonight at Etihad Stadium.
That's right. It's probably the most eagerly anticipated match of the season tonight after the Geelong-Collingwood match last week at the MCG. With the undefeated Cats taking on the fourth place Blues tonight. There was talk earlier in the week that the match might be moved from Etihad Stadium to the MCG, which holds an extra 45,000 seats. But that talk's been shelved after neither club expressed much interest in doing that. So the game will remain at Etihad Stadium. When the league opened Etihad Stadium in 2000, they did have a policy that said if a game looked like it might sell out Etihad, they could move it to the MCG, but that's never happened due to the logistical difficulties involved. So as things are, the AFL has warned patrons that there might be long queues, so they should turn up early to the ground so they don't miss any of the game. It looks like it's going to be an emotional night for Geelong followers after the death of club legend Bob Davis on Monday night. So Geelong will be having a video tribute and a minute's silence before the match kicks off. Out on the field, the Cats have a few injuries tonight. Cameron Ling injured his shoulder last week. Tom Lonergan's out with a sore calf. Youngster Daniel Menzel has shin soreness. So a few outs for them, which could be a bit worrying. For the Blues, Ed Curnow is out with shoulder problems. But I think the Cats' experience will shine through and they'll have a narrow win over the Blues.
And in cycling, I understand we're coming to the business end of the Tour of Italy.
That's right. The Italian Grand Tour last night moved from northeast Italy into the Austrian Alps, and Spaniard Alberto Contador has taken a commanding lead. He leads by 59 seconds over the Belarusian rider Konstantin Siptsov, and that lead is only likely to grow longer as the riders move through the mountains because Contador is a very experienced climber. He's won the Tour de France 3 times, the Giro d'Italia once, and he looks likely to add to both of those tallies this year with the Tour de France coming up in July. He's been under fire for drug allegations over the last year, but that doesn't seem to be affecting him at the moment. For the sprinters, it looks like their race is coming to an end. Mark Cavendish had his second win of the Tour last night. The Isle of Man sprinter has had a very good tour. But now, after that win, he's pulled out, as has sprinter Alessandro Patacchi and the Australian Mark Renshaw. So it's usually pretty tough in the mountains for the sprinters, and they are going to be doing all they can to not be eliminated.
And how are the Australian riders going this year?
Not too well, unfortunately, compared to past years. The top placed Australian is the young 25-year-old Richie Porte. He's in 114th place, more than 45 minutes behind Contador, which he won't be that happy with because he finished 7th in the Giro last year. But I don't think the Australian cycling community will be too worried. He's only young. As I said, he's 25 years old and he's got a big future ahead of him.
And it's emerged that as of yesterday, Black Caviar has been rested for the winter.
That's right. Black Caviar's trainer, Peter Moody, has decided to pull her out of the race she was going to be in next week, which was the Doomben 10,000 in Brisbane. Moody said there's not too much to be worried about, just a bit of wear and tear on Black Caviar. She's had a very long season, a big summer, and he just wants to give her a couple of months rest. If she was taking part in the Doomben 10,000, she would be going for a 14th win from 14 starts, which is quite amazing. The punters will be pleased because Centrebet and Sportsbet have announced that they'll be refunding all bets that were placed on for Black Caviar.
Thanks, Nick. And now to today's weather. Mostly cloudy and 19 in Melbourne today, also cloudy and 19 in Geelong. We'll see the same weather patterns tomorrow in both cities, cloudy with a maximum of 19. Sunday, a few showers, 18 degrees in Melbourne, 19 and rain in Geelong. And that's all we have time for on Newsline today. Thanks for watching.
And I hope you can join us again on Monday at the same time. Have a great weekend.